All right, this is the Getting to Yes Screencast for MGT 6200 by Jose Gutierrez. All right, so the question I chose to answer for the screencast is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Uh, this sounds cliche, but my strength and my weakness is the same thing. It's my ability to understand both sides of the argument. Um, when I'm in class, I usually get there after a long day of work, a long day raising the kids. I'm kind of exhausted. I like to participate because I definitely want to be there. I'm definitely learning a lot. It's been a great experience. But when I'm fully engaged in something, I'm very passionate and evangelical about it, and I will fight for what I believe in. Um, I started my career as an acquisitions professional with the United States government as a contracting officer for the United States Air Force. So I understand what the government is aiming to achieve when they put out a solicitation on the streets to award a contract to get a service or a construction services or a product. I understand what they're attempting to accomplish, and whether it's a money restriction, whatever the case may be, whether they go lowest price technically acceptable, best value, those types of issues. But I've been out for over 10 years now doing it for the private sector. Now I do contracting on the private sector side of the house, and I understand the business side of it as well, which is a great strength. I mean, every company that's ever interviewed me, that's what they appreciate, that I could see both sides of the issue. Where this becomes a weakness is when I have a program manager or a higher up who wants me to try to uh, put the government in a hard spot, put them in a bind, and I don't fully believe in what they're trying to accomplish. It makes it very hard for me to write an argument when I don't believe that we're in the right. And a lot of times I get told, just shut up and do it, because I'll try to argue where it's almost like I'm siding with the government, and I'm not. I just know that it's it's futile for my company to try to go down the path they're going down. But there are other times where we'll open the statement of work and I'll look at what we're doing and what the government's criticizing us for or expecting us to do more. And I'll say, no, they're absolutely in the wrong. And in those instances, I will definitely go to bat for my company. I will, go toe to toe with the government. We'll go round after round until we come to an amicable solution. So it's a good strength. It's a good weakness. Sometimes my job gets on the line because of my inability to fight for something I don't believe in. But other times it's a great strength of mine, helping in negotiations. So coming out of the class, I was told to think about two goals. Goal number one is, for me, is to not assume that I'm always correct. I tend to enter into negotiations assuming I know what's best, assuming I already know the end result. That's because I like to do a lot of research before I go into a negotiation. I like to know as much background as I can gather, background information that I can gather. I will then, go through my almost 2 decades of experience and think of what has worked in the past, and I'll already have a solution formulated in my mind. The new hire exercise was kind of an eye opener for me because there were the two items with that when I was negotiating with John Hunt, location and department he was going to work in, where we were both already on the same page. But I had went in thinking I needed to try to trick him into choosing what I wanted him to choose. And so that was kind of an eye opener for me. Like, don't always assume that you know the right answer. Don't always assume you're correct and that the other person's wrong. Be better in this area. Goal number two is to argue principles and not positions. I think this is one of the first lessons in getting to yes, and it's kind of the through line throughout the book. And it's something that I need to learn to do better in every aspect, not just in business, especially in my personal life, because I'm as capable of being pig-headed and stubborn as the next person. I've seen it where my negotiations, it stops being about the issue and it starts being about ego and it starts being about who's right, who's wrong, who's willing to apologize first. And it's capable of destroying. Marriages fall apart every day for it. Relationships fall apart. Business relationships fall apart because it just becomes an ego thing, a contest of wills. And it stops being about the main thing. And so I need to learn to take a step back, be a lot more understanding that people do have, principles, that they're not just starting conflict just to have conflict, that they have a different way of viewing things, different way of seeing things. And if I can be better at that, at just taking a step back and try to understand where they're coming from, I think it'd be very helpful for me in the end.